They were the words of a parent, as absent and withholding as he's been, who might just have to turn this universe around if his kids don't stop their petty fighting. And who could just turn this universe around, which is the scariest part. Now, with the return of Lucifer for the rest of Season 5, God has a lot more to say, and do. Written by Lucifer co-showrunner Joe Henderson and directed by Nathan Hope, Family Dinner picks up right where, spoiler alert, left off, with Dad's divine intervention putting an end to that episode's epic Lucifer, Amenadiel vs. Michael and May's fight. In theory, Lucifer has always been leading to a confrontation between Lucifer and the root of all his psychological issues, his and creation's father. The chances of that ever actually happening when the series was on Fox always felt slim to none, especially as the network appeared to be more interested in the cop side of the DevilCop equation than they ever did the devil. See Lucifer Season 3. But even during its time on network television, Lucifer was always its most interesting when it delved into the larger-than-life origins and issues of its celestial beings, in tandem with the more human aspects of the cop side, Chloe, Dan, and even Ella as people, not just cogs in the procedural machine. It's why I'd argue that Seasons 2 and 4 remain the peak of the series, as shining examples of what the series could do in both the network realm and then the streaming one. Lucifer as a series is essentially a continuous question of, how do you balance work and family? In this case, the you is the Lucifer writers. As I've also argued, the procedural component of the show is the weakest, in the sense of the cases of the week as a whole, not the fact that there are cases of the week. With such a big set piece in this episode, the titular family dinner, it's rather understandable for the case of the week to be an afterthought. In fact, that's why Chloe's near-automatic realization that she should just solve the case based on what Lucifer's particular projections will be, instead of waiting for him to make those projections on his own, with her doing real detective work, is such a good bit. As is Chloe's wrap-up line for the case, so it turns out our killer was an overbearing girlfriend trying to change her boyfriend because he couldn't deal with his family issues. So, no parallel. As Chloe does believe she's being overbearing. Even though that's neither what's eating at Lucifer this episode nor what's even on the page, as Chloe's barely a factor in this episode. In giving Lucifer space, that does not mean Chloe is also given space to do much more in this episode than work on the case. So let's get into it. Dennis Haysbert is certainly inspired casting for Lucifer's god, Dad, even if you only know him as the Allstate Guy. He's an actor who has one of those booming, voice of God voices that truly makes you feel like you're in good hands.